Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for Twitter reactions to Celtic 1, St Johnstone 1 this afternoon. Before we get started with the video, I have to, as ever, tell you about our sponsors, the One Football app. You can get everything you need from a football app at the touch of a button with One Football. You can get line-up notifications as soon as the team's announcing game days. You can get goal alerts from any game in the world. You name a game from a league and you will find it there on the app. You can keep up to date with league tables, top goal scorers, top assist makers, you name it, you will find it there on the app. You can download the app by clicking the link in the description of this video. It's a great way for you to support the channel. So click the link below to download it and let me know what you think. We'll start today with Dan Miller. Called it at half-time, entirely devoid of ideas, playing safe just highlights our glaring weaknesses and frequent errors at the back. Positives are that Turnbull kicked the ball and looked like the only player who wanted to have a go after he came on. I think today did show that we were entirely devoid of ideas. We've been devoid of ideas for 2 months, 3 months now. Again, I said during the week that I could take the previous games' Twitter reactions, the previous game's content, and just repost it, and it would apply to whatever game happened that day, because I could do that again. I could just replay Thursday's content, and it'd be the same stuff, and it would make sense for today's game, because we're just watching this Groundhog Day every game. We don't have any ideas going forward. We don't have an identity. We don't have a purpose. We don't have a direction. That's why when we're playing these teams like Ross County and like St Johnstone at home, we're not putting them under concerted spells of pressure. We don't really look like carving them open and scoring. The goal we did get today was a fluke. Let's be honest, a fluke. El Younousi, like, backwards header. He's just helmet on, and it ends up looping in at the back post. And other than that, okay, Xander Clark made 1 or 2 saves. Edward had a decent chance. He made a good save from a deflected shot for Turnbull that was outside the box. But attacking wise, we're just miles off it. And then the defending is just the same way defending's been all season. A better team than St Johnstone would have scored a couple of goals today. Every time a team goes forward against us and puts a cohesive attack together, they look like they might score. It's so far gone, it's untrue. I said the morale of this team and the status quo under this management was irretrievable weeks and weeks ago. The board should have taken the decision to change that 3 weeks ago at the absolute latest, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're now out of Europe, we're out of the League Cup, and listen, Rangers have been like heavy favourites for the title for a while now, but we're clinging on to any hope that we can even make a fight of this title at this rate. It's as I said in the full-time reaction, it's a dereliction of duty by the board. It's an absolute disgrace. They are choosing to keep this going either through spite or through incompetence. It's an absolute shambles from top to bottom. And as I said, I'm by blaming Neil Lennon now. I just feel sorry for him. He shouldn't be there. He's out of his depth. He can't turn this around. And the board should have took the decision out of his hands weeks ago. Stephen, it was a must-win game. We are completely devoid of any ideas, and that was emphasised by Kennedy shrugging his shoulders. Response to Neil Lennon asking for advice in the touchline. Again, that's probably something you could take. People have been saying that for weeks. The camera keeps panning to the dugout, and Lennon's asking Kennedy, and they're both kind of like that. Fucking, how do I know? I've not a clue either. That's what I'm saying. The team's directionless. Whatever work's been put in the training ground, this is something, again, I said during the week. We should be fixing these discrepancies in the structure of the team, the organisation of the team. We should be fixing them on the training ground, but we're not. There's no improvement. Nothing's changing. Neil Lennon's still coming out, even after the game tonight, and talking about how the biggest problem is psychology. And we've heard a lot of excuses. It's just excuse after excuse after excuse. It is embarrassing. It is honestly so far past embarrassing, it's untrue. The only way to fix this, as I've been saying for weeks, is to remove the manager from his position and bring in someone new. The People's Republic of Celtic, the board have had it too easy for the past 9 years. They have failed to modernise the club and overseen our worst ever results in Europe. Lennon desperate to turn things around and delusional enough to think he will. It's the board's job to sack him. Absolutely. I said that in the full-time reaction. It's not Neil Lennon's job to I keep hearing this. If he was a Celtic man, he'd have handed in his resignation. He would walk away. Neil Lennon's an employee, and he wants to turn it around. I believe he wants to turn it around. Can he turn it around? Absolutely not. But he will still believe that he can. So it's not his job to remove himself from the position. It's the board's job. The board have to take action. As I said, their inaction is a disgrace. They are dismantling this season single-handedly by watching this slow motion car crash that's been developing in front of their eyes for months now. They should have acted so long ago, but all we've had is a 200-word vacuous corporate statement that means fuck all to MD, because, as I say, they're either incompetent or they just don't care. Michael, predictable, insipid, deja vu, time to source a new manager and rebuild for next season. Lots of those players have given up and need to go. What I said in the full-time reaction was, I'm not going to write any individual players off. That's not me absolving the players of any blame, but I think it's so far gone that no player is playing well. No player has form. There is no player right now who you can look at and go, he's doing himself justice. Lots of these players go away and play for their national teams and they play well. They've been playing well for their national teams all the way through this rut that Celtic have been in, so they're not bad footballers, and I'm not going to write any of them off, because we've seen before when Dyla left and Rodgers came in, the ability of a new manager to revitalise players, to coach them better, to tell them exactly what their job is. That's what the job of a manager is, and a new manager can do that to these players. So I'm not writing anybody off, and I'm not going to buy into this theory that what we have to do in January is just rip the core out of the squad, sell all these players that don't want to be here and start again. The only thing we have to do is change the manager, start with a clean slate, bring fresh ideas, make sure the team's coached and organised properly, and that all the players in the park know exactly what their job is when we're attacking, when we're defending, when we're in attacking transition, when we're in defensive transition. They need to know all of that, and then we can judge them. Because right now, none of them are doing themselves justice, and that's not because all 18, 20, 23 of them, however many we've seen this season, it's not because they're bad footballers. It's because a malaise has set in due to mismanagement, and the only way to fix it is with a new manager, as I keep saying. We'll finish tonight with Hoops Lad 67. Neil has to go, the board needs changes, the club needs a shake-up, the performances and results are a disgrace, and I can't even be bothered being annoyed. Aye, I'm at that stage as well. A couple of weeks ago, I was long past letting myself get angry about it. It's a disgrace. The board, as I keep saying, they are responsible for this now. They were responsible for it when they appointed Neil Lennon as the full-time manager in May 2019 after the Scottish Cup final. He wasn't the best manager to take Celtic forward, but they gave him it anyway. They gave him it in the showers. They gave him it without looking at all their applications. And I know you are fucking fed up hearing me saying that, but I'm going to keep saying it, because that is the root of this decline. The root of this decline began when we appointed Neil Lennon to replace Brendan Rodgers on a full-time basis. It's why a majority or a high proportion of the Celtic support weren't happy that day after the treble cup final, because they knew that ultimately deep down Neil Lennon wasn't the best manager to take Celtic forward. That's the board's responsibility. And right now, okay, we might have spent a lot of money in the summer and we might have brought in some good players and they might have backed Neil Lennon, but right now they are also, it's their responsibility again. They're letting us down again. The decision to employ Neil Lennon as a full-time manager was wrong, and the decision to keep him in the position for the past 4 or 5 weeks is wrong, and he's still here. And see if the board's vision is that Neil Lennon should stay in a job to be given the Scottish Cup final so that he can win a treble. That's a personal favour. That is not doing what's best for Celtic. That is not doing what's best for the football club. And that's what the corporate statements say. That's what every corporate statement they put out says, that they always do what's best for the football club. Don't try and kid us on. This is not what's best for the football club. What's best for the football club was removing the manager from his position about 4 weeks ago. Everything else is not in the best interest of the football club. we'll leave it there for tonight. Like the video, comment your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We will be back during the week. We build up to another dead rubber European game against Lille.